Hey everyone, Genome here. Well, today we're going to have a mild celebration. Today is actually going to be my 100th YouTube video that I put out this year. So, however inauspicious a celebration that really is, I had the somewhat of a bit of foresight, or shall we say a bit of decent foresight, to fulfill two things for this video. One, I ordered myself something of a prize, as it were, a little gift to myself that I could make a video on. And two, I got to fulfill kind of an altruistic kind of endeavor, and one that's kind of near and dear to my heart. And it actually ties in with the very first videos that I actually posted on YouTube, other than my initial intro video. You'll find that under Legends of Venom. Hope I didn't give away too much there. So, what did I get, pray tell? And what is the crux of this 100th video? Well, today I have got a piece of apparel here. Okay, this is special ordered. Now, Genome, you ask, what could a piece of apparel have to do with being altruistic? Well, in as much as altruism actually ties into conservation, I've ordered a t-shirt from none other than the King Cobra Conservancy. Now, the King Cobra Conservancy is something I learned about through a great guy by the name of Jack Vicente. He runs agrotoxins, and he is actually the subject of my first interview on YouTube. That's in the Legends of Venom series. Jack is the former president of the King Cobra Conservancy, otherwise known as the KCC, but he's since handed off the reins to someone who could be a little more active in it. He has his own, enterprise to run as well, so he's got his hands in lots of different pots. So he is graciously handed off the reins, and he's actually handed it off to someone who hails from a, shall we say, serpentine family. The family, of course, being the Haast family of legendary Bill Haast fame. The new president of the KCC is Naya Haast. And for those of you not in the know, even her first name has a snake tie-in. I believe her first and middle name both do. Naya actually being the old classification of King Cobra, Naya Hannah. So, look at that. I mean, Bill, even in child rearing, he had his wit about him. So, the VP of this great organization is Bill Wachalewski. Hopefully, I pronounced your name right. I'm terrible with that sort of thing. But the other interesting thing about this group is they're working in conjunction with something of a herpetological legend. Yeah, they're working hand in hand with Ram Winneker. So Ram is something of a legend in reptile circles. He has spent, I'd say, the vast majority of his life in India, and almost all of it dedicated to conservation efforts over there. They're a burgeoning society, and along with that comes growing pains. And to help protect some of that wildlife that's out there, Ram is kind of there to help steer them along. Ram has worked extensively with king cobras over the years, but actually what he's probably most known for is his work with the Indian Gharial. The Indian Gharial is I think it's the second largest croc species in the world, but it was on the brink of extinction. And when I say brink, I mean down to around 24, I believe, specimens. And thanks to his tireless efforts over there, and the Indian government support as well, they've actually made a drastic comeback, and they're numbering in the hundreds now, which really most people didn't think was possible. So Ram obviously a big name, and he lends his hand to the KCC as well. So before I talk any more about this, you probably actually want to see the shirt, right? So let's just open this bad boy up and see what snake goodness lies within, shall we? Alright, well, being the ex-Army guy that I am, I went ahead and got it in military green. An ex-occupational hazard, I suppose. Object is well sealed, well tagged, and we have some literature here. Look at that, we got a postcard. And we got a little bit of information about a symposium that's going to be coming up. I'll try to post something somewhere below, maybe in the comments, or I'll run something across the bottom of the screen for it. But this is mostly for people over in Europe and Asia. But all right, let's take a look at the shirt itself, shall we? Actually, it's kind of interesting is, well, I'll read it afterwards. But we got a mission statement on the card, which is attached here. All right, and there is the front with the KCC logo emblazoned across front pocket region. And there is the back with the mighty king himself spread out for all to see. Now I know you're asking yourself, Genome, I mean, I know you can hold a shirt up for the camera, but what's it look like on an actual person? I'm glad you asked. Well, just because you did ask, I'm going to go ahead and put this on for you right now. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. And there you have it in all of its military green glory. Very comfy shirt, soft, light and breezy. Let's see if I can give you a picture of the back without standing up. Nope, can't do it. So here's a picture of the back while standing. All right. Well, not only is it endowed with its own unique style and coloration, but it actually is part of the fundraising for a great nonprofit organization. That's the KCC we've been talking about. And here's their mission statement as read from the card from the shirt. Cobra Conservancy mission statement, dedicated to supporting ecological research and conservation initiatives aimed at determining the status of king cobras in the wild and identifying threats and solutions for their future survival. We strive to develop a better understanding of the king cobra's role within the tropical Asian landscape, as well as their importance in human culture and their impact on the lives of people. Now, a lot of people would maybe watch this video and ask, well, Genome, what impact do they have on people? You know, they're a venomous snake. Aren't they just a hazard to people? Well, that is kind of a loaded question, and I'll tell you why. While there is a risk from envenomation and even death from king cobra bites, it is exceedingly rare. Compared to many of their brethren, shall we say, or fellow other venomous snakes over there in, we'll just use India for example, because that's where the main spearhead is going on right now. But the king cobra amounts to negligible, and I mean almost infinitesimal amount of bites compared to what is taking place with the other species. Let me go ahead and kind of give you some basic numbers. All right, these are not 100% down to the person accurate, but I'll just give you nice round numbers. All right. Well, actually, we won't just make it about India. We'll make it about all of Asia. How about that? Because the king has kind of a wide range over the continent. So how many snake bites do you think take place in Asia every year? Now we're talking about those populous areas in the world, right, with lots of jungle habitat. Well, would you be surprised if I told you 4 million? All right, 4 million snake bites a year. Of those, about half are considered envenomations. In other words, the snake has, injected venom, or it's been a venomous snake, that's bit, or, there's been symptoms after the time, or there's been hospitalization, et cetera, et cetera. Basically an envenomation, all right? So 2 million people a year are bitten. All right, of those 2 million people, around 100,000 people a year die. Now let that number sink in for a while. 100,000. The king cobra is responsible for, some lot of sources in the know tell me less than 100 bites per year. Okay, so now we're taking 4 million bites, that's of all species put together biting people and that are recorded, and then you add, or if you took away the king cobra out of all this, you'd be taking 100 whole bites, and this is the top end. They're a secretive snake. They like dense foliage. They're not, unlike, say, smaller cobras like the Indian cobra, for example, who go readily into habitats and human habitations looking for things like field mice and, that sort of thing. The king cobra is actually a snake eater, and it kind of tends to stay, in jungle regions. It has no real interest in the little small mammalian prey. So, getting back to, is the king cobra actually a positive species? Well, some people will say Genome, maybe it kills 10 people a year or so. How can that be good? Well, if you just look at it in that kind of light, no, it's not good. But if you look at it in the actual logical light of day, you'll find that they serve an incredibly important role in the environmental niche over there. And I would dare say that having king cobras around this is not even a blanket statement, this is just actually a true statement. It's reducing the number of snakebite, envenomation, and snakebite caused deaths every year, because they eat an enormous amount of snakes. A lot of people don't know that the king cobra is the world's largest and longest venomous snake. They can reach up to 18 foot long. In the wild, that's not going to happen too often, of course, but that's getting up to the upper size limit. Just for a fun reference, in the defense posture of a cobra, like most cobras, the king cobra will kind of hood up and stand up and bring the top third of its body up. So what does that mean? Well, on say he was 18-foot cobra, which they can get to be, or 18-foot king cobra, that could look that could look me in the eye. So pretty impressive. And that actually kind of builds a lot of their, somewhat undeserved reputation about them, because that's just their natural way. They get up and take a look around. They look big and intimidating, hoping to scare off things. Now, when I say scare off things, they have elephants and things walking around, and rhino walking around in Asia. So they have to get up high to be seen, or lest they be trampled. But these very large snakes prey on venomous snakes. Not only do they eat, their main diet consists of rat snakes and that sort of thing, but they are not above eating a crate, an echis, or Sasuke Viper, as they're more commonly known. Other cobras they eat, but they just eat a vast amount of snakes. So now, while there's some differentiation of numbers and percentages of how much venomous snakes make up, or how much of a diet that venomous snakes make up for the king cobra, it's even if it was 10%, that's 10% less venomous snakes out there that would tend to have more contact with the human population. And the king cobra just does their job for free. They reduce the venomous snakes in the area surrounding. Now, let's make no mistake, the king cobra needs to be respected. It needs to be treated with a great deal of care. This is not something you need to go out and be messing with in the wild. So this kind of falls in somewhat to what the KCC does. The KCC, while they actually have tracking initiatives, putting transponders in cobras to follow their movements and see what they're doing for migration paths and that sort of thing, and to periodically collect the specimens for weight and other scientific measurements. Another huge portion of what the KCC does is go around villages, or to go around to these more rural villages and towns and educate people on the importance of the snake, and even more importantly, some might say, is education on how to avoid snake bite. Now, this is not just for king cobras, but this is for basically all venomous species out there. But the unfortunate fact is, because of its reputation, which is almost wholeheartedly undeserved, the king cobra is systematically killed when found. So the KCC's mission is out there to get people to learn not to fear these snakes, to just leave them alone. Because, like any other snake out there in this world, it wants something to do with humans. It really doesn't. I mean, we're too big for food. Biting us as a defense is a waste of venom, so it leaves them vulnerable to other attack, and it slows down their feeding and all that other thing. So it's a last-ditch effort. There's no snake that's going to actively seek out a person to bite. They're not vindictive. They're not well, what people think of as aggressive. They're just, you know, they have defense mechanisms, and, you know, they will try to protect themselves, but if you let them go their own way, they will go their own way. They're not going to charge you down, jump into your automobile, and, you know, and go after your firstborn children. This is not what snakes do. So yes, the KCC goes around and they educate people with seminars and instructions on how to deal with venomous snakes that people see in day-to-day life, and doing simple things such as instructing people, or handing out flashlights. They'll hand out flashlights to smaller villages with no electric lighting and that sort of thing. So when they're walking their footpaths at night, they can see where they're walking and not stepping on not just king cobras, of course, but many other snakes. I mentioned the Echis, or the Sasuke Viper, earlier. Sasuke Viper is a very small snake. I think it averages around 18 inches long. It's a viper, much different than the cobra. Long story short on the Echis, it is responsible for the most fatalities in Asia per year by quite a wide margin, actually. It's a small, but, you know, fairly plucky little snake, but a lot of times they get trod on, and, you know, when a snake gets stepped on, it's gonna reach out and bite. So, but you know what? I could explain Echis to you all day, but let me let a professional do it for you. Jack?
That Echis, that Sasuke Viper, is responsible for most of the bites in Asia. It's horrible. Death by that is horrible.
It's a much smaller snake species too.
Oh, yeah.
Most people see a puff adder or a baboon viper, and they automatically register, okay, this is really dangerous, but that small snake is the one that can get you just as easily as...
Yeah.
Thanks for that bit of wisdom, Jack. Now, I'm going to go ahead and have some more footage of him right here explaining a little more about the Conservancy in a much more eloquent and knowledgeable way than I could. And afterwards, we'll do a little bit of closing, and then I'll tell you how to get a hold of this fine organization.
So I'm involved in this group called the KCC, the King Cobra Conservancy, which was put together by Naya Haast, Bill Haast's daughter, and Shanti Haast. And it's made up of an alumni of folks that worked for Bill Haast, Ron Whitaker, Joe Wasilewski, George Van Horn, myself, the Schwedick brothers, and we got Matt Good in there too from Arizona. And one of the things people don't realize is that, you know, I get this question, why would you want to save a king cobra? Why does the world need that snake? Well, number one, we hate to see anything go extinct. Number two, the amount of people bitten by king cobras, you can count them on your hand. There's very few. They're minimal. The amount of people bitten by the Echis, that Sasuke Viper, and other cobras is where you get up into the 100, 200,000 snake bites a year. Guess what king cobras eat for a primary diet? Other snakes. They consume an enormous amount of venomous snakes. So, you know, by keeping this icon alive, this giant that's not hurting people, this snake actually is keeping the venomous snake population down, where people walk with no shoes and get bitten. So for that aspect alone, it's a good thing to do. And some of the ways that we have made an impact is by supporting some of the projects over there where they actually catch these snakes as they come into the villages. The people are going around educated. Here's what you do if you see this snake, call. And then we have full-time hunters go out, they get the snake, they bring it back in the rainforest and let it go, and we're relocating. And we saved, these projects saved, you know, well over 150 snakes last year from being chopped up. And they are protected over there too. So we feel like this is a good thing, and now we have carried that to the next advanced stages on a new project that we're trying to fund now that actually puts telemetry radio transmitters in the snakes. And we can see if these ones we're saving, are they making it? Are they going back to where they were found? And we can also learn a whole lot more about the snake. Had to throw that plug in there.
Shameless plug, but also there's a link to it on your Facebook page, is there not?
Yeah, there's a link. Yeah, you can just www.thekingcobra. If you don't want to remember, kingcobraconservancy.org, but thekingcobra.org, or just kingcobra.org will get you there.
All right, thanks once again, Jack, for your imitable knowledge there. So, the KCC, you can find them via web search by doing thekingcobra.org. Instead, if you don't want to do the, you know, the King Cobra Conservancy, you know, they have their own site and all that, and I'll post that in the description below, and I'll run something across the bottom of the screen here for everyone too. They have a small shop with things like t-shirts, and a few other things out there for sale. All proceeds go directly to the foundation and help fund their research and conservation efforts and education for the locals. You can also donate. In fact, I'll probably have something up on Facebook, kind of the the little in lieu of a Christmas present or birthday present, please send money here, and I'll put a little thing out there at a later date. But anyway, so if you have a few dollars sitting around, would like a shirt that's sure to draw someone's eye out there in public, it might draw some questions. And if you have any interest at all in snakes, I'll get on a little bit of a little tangent here. Most people do not like snakes. All right, most people are afraid of them. And it's understandable. They're very alien to us, but they do play an important role in the ecology of any environment, really, that they're in. If it wasn't for them, things might be a lot different for us if you consider things like pests, rodents, that sort of thing. So they're not the great evil that they're made out to be. So, and places like the Cobra Conservancy kind of help spread that message to others out there. And I would encourage you to check them out and donate if you like. But also, even if you don't, I would just encourage you to go out and kind of learn a little bit about snakes and what ecological role they actually play. And, just try to fear them. Don't kill them out of spite. And, for a more local United States kind of factoid here, almost, I'd say the vast majority of bites from venomous and non-venomous related species in this country result in people trying to capture or kill the snake. So if basically everyone in the country would stop trying to shoot, chop up, toss, drown, suffocate, shoot with ray gun, or just try to capture or kill snakes in general, the bites and envenomations in this country would be negligible. It'd be almost nothing. So just a little soapbox area there. But anyway, sorry, I've rambled on long enough. Thanks for tuning in for my 100th video for YouTube. So, the century mark has been reached. Now I just need about 2,000 more, and then I'll be up there with the big boys. Go check out the KCC. Go get you a shirt for the holidays. Hey, get one for the kids too. You never know. And know that your money is going to support a great cause. And this is not one of those ephemeral things that you'll never be able to see. There's documentaries going on of their work, and especially of Ram's work all over the world. In fact, just search Ram Whitaker and National Geographic, and he has multiple series out there. So it's a real organization. They have a great mission, and they're out there saving lives every day. It's unsung, and most people don't get to see it or even hear of it. But a little education goes a long way. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned in the future for some more content, especially snake-related content, because I have a couple big interviews lined up I can't wait to do. Just got to get down to Florida to do them. So until next time, this is Genome, loving his military green KCC shirt, signing out. Y'all have a good one.